And now you see what is real and what is false in these so-called ancient religions. Behold, right before your eyes, as they play with your mind and play with your life as if it is nothing, as they've blended in their satanic Saturn worship, as they've blended in, they've wrote their own version of the Holy Scriptures and added the letter J in the 1500s, nullifying the power of the sacred true name, if there was any power to begin with. And they've changed the day of worship from the 7th to the first day, the sun's day, which means you're sacrificing and praying to a whole nother deity. Drink the blood of the story of sacrifice. Drink ye all of it. And also, sun worship was blended in with the 12-month cycle. Was there really a son of God that lived as a man in the flesh? It's possible they made him up to. We'll never know. But you better believe books were taken out concerning him. And don't you think more than 4 or 5 disciples would have written about a miraculous man doing all sorts of miracles such as these? Raising the dead, walking on water. Everyone would have written a book about it. As we've stated before, men were sacrificed for what the scriptures actually said and the power it really held before they invited the worship of Baal, the bull god Saturn, which is why it's called the Baal, the 2 ways of Baal, to wash themselves clean of any kind of wrongdoing with their own version of the Holy Scriptures. Because when you change the entire meaning, you're worshiping a whole nother deity. And they profit off the system of duality, good and evil. And they profit rich, as if there's a war between God and the devil, and there is not. While they do horrendous evil and don't follow their own rules. Because they know they made it up. Because they've convinced you to bring your goods to the storehouse when there is no storehouse except their own. When your Jesus never taught tithing. And they've made billions off the black community while not helping them at all. Because they know you would ask the question, why? Why are we here? How did we get here? What's the meaning of life, etc. Because the why is the which's way when you ask which way to go. Why they have this pyramid scheme to have you going around in circles to get you to pay them so that they will always be on top of the pyramid. But the only thing pressed down is your pockets, and shaken together is your emotions. When no man is coming out the sky and nothing is going to save you but you. Even they say themselves faith without works is dead, which means you're going to do all the work. But all religions say do good and not evil. They use this as it was started to mean 4 commandments to God, 6 do good to one another. Because somewhere down the line it became okay to do what you want to do long as you believe in this name. Have you ever wondered why he never mentioned his son in the commandments? You think God needs your money? Should be easy to see what was added now. Because they worship Saturn, called Father Time. The reason Santa looks exactly like Father Time in the kingdom of Satan. And you can't have a kingdom and hierarchy without your jester. As in the entertainer, who would entertain the king and the crowd. And the best jesters are able to lie and put on a good show of something that is not true. Sort of like how we have our actors today. And in order to be a good one, you have to be a two-faced liar. And you get double points for bringing laughter. And of course, the devil is the father of lies. Which brings us to Apollo, the sun god. And the liar had two horns like a bull. Apollo used the lyre, which is a weapon. And the lyre, just like a lie, is very powerful, so is the lyre. And there's a whole ring of jesters in every kingdom, especially the principalities of darkness. And the better you lie and perform, the greater the reward from your king. Which is why we love the most horrific movies in Hollywood, as we're hooked on the spells they cast. Let's just hope our politicians aren't practicing the art of the jesters. And they belittled their gods to an illness, as it was more powerful than all religions. Do you really think God is wearing a mask to prevent himself from catching any kind of illness? And at this point, all of this hiding has to do with the flood, the Great Deluge, which happened many years ago. Because as we stated before on this channel, evidence has surfaced everywhere about the deceased giants and their bone structures being found all over the planet. These giants were said to be as tall as 12 feet, all the way up to 2 miles long in height. Funny, the books they removed explained a lot of the things that we're discovering now. As human population increased, the giants turned on the humans and began to devour them, drinking their blood and eating their flesh. The giants even turned on each other afterwards. Giants as well as monsters, because their spirits are sent to torment humans when they die until the end of time to even exist. Some of the giants were as big as land masses, and the evidence is undeniable. Somehow the monsters, the creatures, the giant animals were all petrified into rocks. The stones you see today, as they are totally different from Earth, and yet the scientists want you to believe that these formations formed over thousands of years because of the jewels within these deceased titans. Some of them carry jewels that are rumored to possess power. The deceased blood crystallized. Fluids in these deceased monsters crystallized. Even some land masses have the direct lining similarity of human skin. Material here looks soft, but it's hard as a rock, as this is petrified flesh. And even this, when huge monsters, whale looking like creatures, are found on our planet, and it's leaving scientists baffled as they fight tooth and nail not to give credit to those ancient books that were removed. It's 100% impossible for dirt to form this, no matter how many years. So now you know what it is when you see rocks and so-called mountains. And now you know what they are. That's right, as well as the mountains, because those aren't mountains at all. Those are giant tree stumps from trees that were hacked down and petrified from the root all the way to the core. And nothing looks more like a giant petrified tree stump than a giant petrified tree stump. And that's why you see lava spewing from the ground and inside the oceans, as it is the blood of the deceased monsters and titans. And that's why faces are being seen within the lightning and thunder and hurricanes and volcano eruptions all over the planet. We can't say that at all.
But we'll never know.
And that's why the globe lie was necessary. Because the last time we spoke the same language on one accord, we tried to get out of the dome. As some of you are familiar with the story of the Tower of Babel. And don't you think if Christ is coming, then lifting the lid so everyone can see him is more believable? How can that happen on a spinning ball? Come on, Christians. When all ancient civilizations knew exactly what the correct shape of the earth was. You have to do better than that. But don't listen to me. Feel free to have monkey ancestors and pay your Lord Demon Pastor the devil's dollars. And that's why they have the treaty that you cannot explore certain areas of the planet, because they want to get to it first. The jewels and extra land. But with technology, the globe lie was broken. With a lot of time on our hands, people have discovered the truth with just simple observations and critical thinking. When you feel no motion under your feet and the constellations never change each year, we can do simple observations with water, as our planet is 70 to 80% all water. Because water always finds its level, and all water needs to be contained, small amounts as well as the large amounts, and this is observable, measurable, and repeatable, real science. It just so happens all these numbers will equal to 666 in Masonic science. And when you acquiesce to it, then you become a part of it, from failure to question it. And that's why Nasa means to deceive in Hebrew, as the snake reveals itself. And now you know why the entire church is not saying anything, because they approve the bogus Big Bang Theory. They were the ones who invented it and excluded the Bible from school, because their school is the school of the wise old owl, Father Time. And that's why you can't speak out on this and speak the truth, because you'll lose your job. And they've made it where your kids can't even graduate school unless they regurgitate and practice satanic science. And you're too afraid to leave what you were taught in high school, as you were indoctrinated and weren't taught how to think at all. But you don't care if the Bible tells you different, because you're not a Christian at all. You are the Antichrist. Because the Bible says over and over, the earth is not moving. Because you're a coward and you won't do anything. You're scared to really fight for truth and challenge your pastor. You want to pay your 10% and receive a material blessing. You're better off being an atheist, because even your Lord said you can't serve two masters, which means you're lukewarm. You're better off playing with tarot cards, as the concept of Jesus is a hanged man of devil worship. You're better off fully joining the cult, as they love sacrifice teachings. Their bull god Baal. Wanna bet? But you can bet on this. They're betting against you, because they know tithing is not in the commandments. And you've made him real by putting your energy into it. But it's time to snatch your Christ off that cross. and use the God in you to battle these harmful lies, because lies were definitely mixed in that book you hold dear. Way of truth is followed by few. Or do you want to hang on Satan's balls until the day you die? The choice is yours.
Choose your destiny.
But in this simulation, the only sword you need is the sword of truth.
Ha 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 ha!